I remembered to record this time. Very good, Mike. What's up? Welcome to I'm Right, You're Wrong. I'm your host, international radio superstar, former Howard Stern protege, Mike Waters. I've been doing this show. I used to do it on Radio IO. Had quite a following. Till someone blew up all that bullshit. Didn't have a good app, though. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been telling them the truth. I've been calling all the bullshit. I've been telling you how fake this shit is. I was saying it was fake news way before Donald Trump was saying it was fake news. It's all fake news. You need to wake up. People need to grow up and wake up. They need to quit being petulant internet crybabies. And fucking actually, if you're gonna talk about something, then actually do some research. Don't just listen to CNN or Fox News and think that that's the truth, because they're telling you what you want to hear. And I understand it's human nature. I do the same thing. I'll be looking for something to talk about, and I'll say, "What's this?" I'll say, "Well, that doesn't really go along with what I'm saying, and it seems to be true. Let me just not look at this one. It kind of ruins everything there." Think of that's kind of how it is. But I try to be as objective as I can. Nobody can be objective. It's very hard to be objective. It's against human nature. You want to be right. You want it your way. And it's just bizarre. It's a bizarre time to be living. It's just a bizarre time to. It's a bit bizarre, but I sound like the guy on what the hell's the name of that show? Fat Albert. It's a bit bizarre, but time to be living in. You can't believe the news. The news has always been, it's a broken record, because it's just the way it is. The news has always been, kind of shady. Actually, the news back in the day wasn't quite as shady. It was only influenced by the government, because in the 50s, 60s, when television, 70s, when television first came out, and they mandated that you have, half hour of news, and there could be no commercials in the news, because the news was a public service to your audience, because, this is America, and we like to keep an informed electorate. That's how it used to be. Then they went, fuck that, we ain't making no money. We ain't making no money with no commercials on the news. Let's start selling commercials. And then as soon as you start selling commercials, you completely lose all credibility, because you can't talk bad about the people who pay you money. That's the downfall, starting right there. Starting right there is the downfall. I mean, that's been years and years of culmination, but that's where it starts, when the news is corrupted, and it went so fast. Everybody's always a left-wing news media. Everybody's always been saying that. But I used to tune into NBC News a lot. 6:30, just get the what's going on, natural disasters, whatever's going on. Didn't really seem like there was much of an agenda there. But boy, there's nothing but agendas out there, and there's nothing but people out there telling you that if you express yourself a certain way, you're a danger to democracy. If you vote a certain way, you're a danger to democracy. It's like that never even happened before. So, I always want to explain to people, it's an awkward position to be in there. I've always been right down the middle. This is all, the left is complete horse shit, and the right is complete horse shit. But right now, the left, shut them dogs up! Shut them dogs up! Right now, the left, Bella completely threw me for a loop there. The left is so anti free speech that I can't, I'm just, my viewpoints have to be just against the left. I'm not pro-right. They're going to come in and they'll take all your rights too. But I can't, I've got to call out all this bullshit on the left And the wokeness is not about wokeness. Nobody in politics gives a fuck about anybody. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit if you're trans. They're not like, well, we need to help the trans people. The trans are right. They don't give a fuck about that. If you're gay, they don't give a shit about your rights. If you're gay, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, they don't care about you. They don't care at all. That's the main thing you need to get. And I don't understand. I've never understood the delusion. You look at you think Bill Clinton cares about you? I feel your pain. I do. You don't know. You don't feel our pain. You're fucking rich. When the people were feeling the pinch. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. He didn't feel your pain. He never felt an ounce of pain and went on to get even more rich and become a billionaire through his so-called charitable organization, which is very very suspect at the least. Bill Clinton. I mean, they don't care about you. George W. Bush. Kanye was actually right. He was a visionary back in Katrina. George W. Bush doesn't care about black people. Well, he only had it half right. Because George W. Bush don't care about any people other than rich people who can help him because he's a narcissistic, egomaniacal sociopath, just like every president. I got this clip of what's his name? Biden. This is my favorite clip. This is when he's talking about his son. Is a massive crackhead. That's not up for debate. There's too many pictures of Hunter Biden with crack to say that it's not up for debate. He smokes a lot of crack and he likes to have sex with prostitutes. He used to post amateur porn. That's just when we were talking about Billy Carter, peeing out in public and being drunk, it wasn't partisan. We were just describing Billy Carter. When you describe Hunter Biden, you talk about crack and prostitutes. Here's Joe Biden railing against crack. I believe this was the 1990. Is it 1993? Where he passed the. I believe this was his baby, or at least part of his baby. The crime bill, which was responsible for putting a generation of male black people in jail, so that to destroy the African American community under the guise of religion, under the guise of we're gonna be tough on crime, when it was all about in keeping a permanent underclass that will always vote for you because you will lie to them forever. I think the jig's finally up on that. I think people are finally kind of realizing. If you look at the Latino and the black vote, I think you see a surprising amount of black people in MAGA hats because they're sick of the bullshit. And people, they're saying, that the Latins, traditional Latin people who've come here and immigrated and done it the right way, they usually are conservative. Talk about the Venezuelan guy that I know who came from Venezuela, and he came with nothing, fleeing socialism, got a job, has a nice life. His kids go to college. I've met his kids. He seemed like a very fine family. He's a very big Donald Trump supporter, and it's so disgusting. It's so disgusting that somebody like he's a guy. He comes out and he does our on the side, he does the bouncy houses and the slides, the water slides. And so he's been out here probably half a dozen times. And I always make a point to go out and, and hang out and talk with him because he's an interesting guy. Seems like a real nice guy. And it disgusts me. It disgusts me that he is immediately written off as, ignorant, because he supports Trump. He's ignorant. He's stupid. He's a threat to democracy. When this guy, I'm not, I'm a nice guy. I'm sociable. I don't seek out people like, if you're the plumber, I might talk to you for a minute, but if you're really interesting, then I come back and talk to you. But this guy was, he's such a nice guy, and his kids come out here, and they got to load up this thing weighs like 600 pounds, water slide. When you roll it up, you roll it all up, it's like a giant hay bale. And, I used to like to watch them try to get it in there. And so you got to be pretty strong. But his sons come out, and they're pretty big too. And the guy plays baseball. The son plays baseball, and they're really nice people. And it just, to me, it's the perfect example of how close-minded people are. That guy is stupid and uneducated because he likes Donald Trump. I don't know. Maybe that guy's got. Why don't you take people like that and talk to them like I did? I tried to pick this guy's brain for everything. I was like, tell me about Venezuela. Tell me about the socialism. Tell me about what happened. How'd you get over here? And he talked about how long it took him to get his citizenship, but he did it, and he did it the right way. And he talked to he was like, I see what happened in Venezuela. I see it happening right here, right now in this country. And I said, well, where do you go? Where do you go, buddy? And he was like, there's nowhere to go. I was like, wow, you should listen to Cluster F. You're right on board with how I feel. But this guy, a super nice guy, seemed like a super responsible person. But he would be completely dismissed and not even given the time of day just because he supports Trump. And it's like, I can't really, if you're of that mentality, I mean, I'm very open-minded. I try to find as much information, as much truth as I can. Everybody else just wants to be, I'm right and you're wrong because I know this shit. Because I look up this shit. I've been doing this shit for 10 years, probably for 15 years I've been looking this shit up. Almost 20, no, yeah, about 15 years I've been trying to find as much information on this shit and looking at alternate sources of media because you can't trust the mainstream media at all. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm right, you're wrong. Not because I'm on social media going, rehashing and regurgitating talking points from Rachel Maddow or Sean Hannity. I do it because I use my brain and I use common sense and just see the fucking obvious that's right in front of your face and think about human nature. So, we're a society of people who just want to be right. We're completely intolerant. We're making ourselves more and more intolerant. This so-called, tolerance wasn't good enough. It's like, tolerance isn't a bad word. It's like, I don't really like you or your lifestyle, but I'm just not going to say anything. I'll tolerate it. What's wrong with that? That's not, but that you can't do. That's no, you're whatever. You're either you're homophobic or a threat to democracy or a racist or whatever, just because you're not eager to embrace something that you don't agree with. If you don't have to like gay people. You have to respect gay people's rights and treat them civilly. You don't have to like them. There's nothing in the fucking. You don't have to like it. You don't. You can have a religious objection to gay people and say, well, the Bible says that guys fucking is wrong. You can have that, but you still have to treat gays in a civil and respectful manner. Just as long as they treat you the same way. Fucking this stuff that's driving me crazy. I gotta get back to Biden. Get back to Biden and his anti-crack rant because if you're a Biden, he loves to say about that. The Bidens, if you're a Biden, well, you don't mess with a Biden. Don't fuck with a Biden. Well, the Bidens like to put black people in jail for smoking crack. The Bidens like to put black people in jail for smoking crack, and hey, they've been doing it for decades. So, fuck you.
Take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents, It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of.
Man, he was senile back then. Man, he can't fucking complete a thought back then. That's a little disappointing. This is pretty shitty. Are you gonna get to the crack, Joe, or is this a gun deal?
Society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society.
See, now this is you know, you can see the metamorphosis. Now everybody is a victim, and it's nobody's fault. Boy, he's sure not acting like it was white people's fault. Right here, he's being pretty racist. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the plight of African Americans. Just lock them up.
The result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask, what made them do this? They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about.
I mean, I agree with that, but this was really, you know, the way they used the bill was to put people in jail for like selling crack when you know, you can, you know, people who say, well, you know, that's illegal and you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, you know, some people, see, people refuse to just use common sense. Like a lot of people, even in this day and age, some black kid, you know, teenager who, you know, doesn't look like, you know, how, you know, you think a kid should look or dress, and he comes in and applies for a job, you know, and you're a certain kind of person, you're just going to turn him down. So it is more difficult, you know, and you have to take into I'm not saying when somebody beats you over the head with a lead pipe, you have to take it into account, but, you know, a lot of people, at times you have to take into account, but that these people were raised, you know, in homes without fathers a lot of the time, 70% of them, because of Joe and his crime bill, because of LBJ and the Great Society. Republicans were in on it too. I'm just saying. They're saying that was their, you know, they have their roles, you know, the Democrats have their roles as the social justice warriors. They don't give a fuck about prostitutes or sex workers, or they don't care about abortion. They don't care about female rights. They don't give a fuck about any of it. They could, they could have ultimate power and flip flop every single position they have. They would do it in a heartbeat. Do you get that? Whoever, I wish I could talk to people on the left. So I just like so many questions I have of people on the left. I was like, so you actually think that Rick Scott, if you said, hey, Rick Scott, I'll give you $2 million if you'll switch completely to Democrat. It'd have to be more for him because he's got $1 gazillion. Rick Scott, I'll give you $50 million. Like that. They have zero ethics. Zero. Oh, that was a zero. That's a zero. I think you have to do a zero. I'm sorry. I should have put the fingers down. That meant to be a zero. Zero ethics. They have zero ethics. People can't get that through their fucking heads. You can look at how many. How do you know when a politician is lying? His lips are moving. So for the last 100 years, we've known politicians are pathological liars, but we still believe the ones that we support. We believe that if you're on the left, you believe that they are. Yes, I've heard this so many times. It's nauseating. Yeah, you know. I know the Republicans, you know, they lie and they cheat too, but you know. They don't hate America like the Democrats. Well, you know, they don't. Neither one of them hate America. They just love themselves so much. They don't hate America. They want to use America. They want to use the fuck out of America, and they want to use the fuck out of Americans. They don't hate America. They love what's going on. They have ultimate power and unlimited money. And the support of the media. What do you think? The Democrats love America. And they love and so do the Republicans. They love the America they've created, and you can't even get that through your thick skull. Oh, they hate America. They want to destroy it. No, they want to rape it to death. So do the Republicans. I say it again. I can't wait for the Republicans to get in charge, and then maybe a year down the road, I can say, yeah, how's that working out for you? And you'll be going, well, the Democrats are doing this. Yeah, whatever. You know what they're both doing? They're both stealing your money. You tell me how many Republicans opposed this bullshit Ukraine shit. They were out there fucking jacking off Zelensky just like the Democrats. They went over there and did the same. Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, they fucking sucking the Zelensky dick. Nothing more than prostitutes for the military-industrial complex. Fucking ridiculous. I don't even want to. I don't know if I can. How many times you practice this phony baloney bullshit in the mirror, and all he cares about is getting it passed so it looks good on his resume so he can be president of the United States one day. And if you don't believe that, I'm right and you're wrong. So fuck off.
About that cadre of young people. Tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes.
See, but he's kind of eating his own logic. He's saying we can't take into account, how they're raised, and now he's saying about how, like, it'd be almost impossible for you to not have any parents or support system or any guidance or any moral compass it'd be very difficult to become a successful person. But he's saying that's completely disregarded. He's eating his own logic. I don't know what he's fucking talking about.
Because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And, Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
Oh, wow, how ironic is that? Or wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created.
This ain't the crack one, man. My bad. The best one is the crack one, where I think it's the same speech in front of Congress or whatever you call it, and he holds up a little baggie. Holds up a little baggie, and it's got a little crack rock in there, and he's like, this much crack will put you in jail for 20 years. So possessing or selling that much crack, which the CIA has admittedly put into the black community to ruin them. so doing something that the U.S. government willfully perpetrated on you, get you 20 years in prison. That makes Joe Biden one of the biggest frauds, and I mean, it almost makes him a murderer, because you can think of how the black community has suffered through the introduction of crack and the introduction of the crime bill, where you took all these people who were selling crack and put them in jail for 20 years and took away the fathers. Took away the family unit. It's one of the most despicable things ever. You don't hear notice you don't hear people talk about shit like that. You notice people don't talk about shit like that. What are they talking about? They're talking about abortion. Talking about Nancy Pelosi's husband, in a hammer and his underwear. What the fuck is that shit? It's just all distractions. It's all distractions. As they continually prop up Wall Street, they continually send billions upon billions to be laundered through Ukraine. Pay attention. Pay attention. Don't fall for all the nonsense. Let's see here. Let's just see. This is just a feel good. Let me see if I can find it. This is a feel good. Sometimes you like to have a feel good moment. To just stop thinking about all this bullshit. This is Obama. See, I don't care if this was George W. Bush or Donald Trump or some other Republican, Ronald Reagan. If somebody in the crowd starts chanting, something that they don't like, I love it. I love it. I think they'd start chanting, fuck Joe Biden. Great. Fuck every politician. See, and you can't say that anymore. I was just kidding. You can't fuck every politician. That makes you you're doing something. Used to be just an American right to go down to the bar and say, "Oh, fuck these politicians." Now they're trying to take that away. That's the most frightening thing. And that's the left right now. The left, the powers that be want it. The left's perpetrating it. So I must speak out against the left, because the taking away of free speech is the absolute worst thing that can happen. Fuck all your other bullshit that you're trying, fuck your wokeness. The founding fathers were way smarter than you, and they knew that it was the First Amendment for a reason, because it's the most important, and you're trying to shit all over it. And I loathe you for it. I think loathe is a better word, because you say hate. People start, was it hate speech? No, I do loathe speech. I loathe you. If you support the suppression of free speech, I loathe you. You're despicable, and then I'm gonna think some things that should happen to you in my head. Is that legal? Can I think in my head again? I don't know if you can think in your head anymore. Let's hear Obama heckled with F Joe Biden, dude. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
He's got nothing.
Come on. But this is what I mean. This is what I mean. I mean, we're having a conversation. Hold on a minute.
Come on, Barry.
Listen, everybody.
See, you know what? You can also look at it this two ways. You can think, oh, unfortunately, you got to look at how it really is. You think, oh, yeah, he's having to take it. Obama's having to take it. Somebody's finally having to take it. But no, for one thing, he didn't like Joe Biden at all. He was often derided him, said never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up. So he's actually probably loving that. He's probably fucking loving it, because he didn't like Joe Biden, and even if he did like Joe Biden, he's probably inside laughing, going, those fools can say fuck Joe Biden all they want, and they can't change anything. They're like, he's probably thinking in his head, you guys are lucky this isn't a year from now, because a year from now, if you chant fuck Joe Biden, they'll haul you away to jail. It's that new law we passed. You didn't hear about it? You can't shout mean things to politicians. It's kind of scary, and it's kind of fucking true. That's why the First Amendment should be, people should be outraged. It should be outraged. They should be up in arms. They should be going, But you'll see the people, Elon Musk buying Twitter. You'll see the vitriol and the just the panic on the left side about how, oh my God, it's just the worst thing ever. Unfettered free speech is the worst thing ever. Unfettered free speech is the worst thing ever. If that doesn't scare you, if that doesn't blow your mind, then I don't think you really have any comprehension of what's going on in life. It should terrify the fuck out of you. Did that one? Pfizer NFL. I think I was on the Pfizer. I think it was I was watching. Was it college football or pro? But it comes out and it goes, Pfizer is teamed with, I think it was the NFL, to make sure you learn about vaccines and want to get your booster. And it's like, is that, man, the NFL? There's really nothing that they do that I agree with. But I was subjected to that every time there was a commercial. Must have been during the, because I didn't watch much football this weekend. Must have been during the Bucks-Ravens game. That's probably when it was. Pfizer. It's, I wish I could talk to more people on the left. I don't know any people on the left, and nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to have a civil conversation. I just want to ask questions. About. To me, it's all common sense. I want to count common sense, and people are just stuck in their ways, and they just won't admit it. No matter how much you say it, you go, okay, so Pfizer, you realize that these pharmaceutical companies, many of them, any of them that were involved in the opioid thing, they lied, and they lied to doctors even. And they said it wasn't addictive, that opioid, the new, OxyContin wasn't addictive. So they're responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths. So really evil. The people in Big Farm, and you can say what you want. I guarantee it's rife through the entire industry. That's just the way, the Philip Morris, and all those companies killing people with cigarettes don't give a fuck about you. Why do you think the fucking pharmaceuticals do? Just because some of their pills cure shit means that they don't give a shit? They don't give a shit. So if you're trusting Pfizer, in my opinion, well, actually, it's best to say that if you're trusting Pfizer, some people would say you're a complete idiot. If you're trusting Pfizer, some people would say, I've heard some people would say that you're a fucking moron. That you're trusting a giant corporation proven to kill innumerable Americans with your safety and health. And when they say something is completely safe, you believe them. I've heard some people, I don't know where these people are, but they're usually anonymous comments. Some people say that you're a fucking idiot. I like that. I'm going to make sure I do more of that. Yeah. Some fucking people, man. They got a lot of nerve, don't they? They say you're about fucking stupid as they come for trusting a big farm. I trust Big Farm completely. The jab was tested, for like I think 8 weeks. I mean, normally they need some people say normally you need 10 years of testing, but I don't listen to those party poopers. I trust Pfizer. Don't listen to some people. I like that. Gonna do a lot more of that. That's a good. See, it's all you got to use a lot of tricks. You got to use a lot of tricks these days to fool people. You got to use a lot of tricks to say what you want to say in a way that you can't get in trouble for saying it. How sad is that? That's the new free speech. The new free speech is double talking so you can kind of get your point across to people who are intelligent enough to get it, while the censorship fucking assholes, are left with nothing. And they're cursing you. We know what you're trying to say. We can't get you for it. Because they want to shut you down. They want to shut Kanye down. I hope Kanye doesn't back down. I hope he doesn't back down. I hope he comes back like a phoenix. I don't care what he's saying. I don't pay attention to what he's saying. I just like the fact that he's bucking the system. So fuck off. I don't know. See, I don't know. Probably most people haven't seen this. I don't think most people, really go through the social media like I do, to the sites I do. The Atlantic, they're a pretty left-leaning publication. But they just came out with an article by Emily Oster, whoever she is, and she says, let's declare a pandemic amnesty. We need to forgive one another for what we did and said when we were in the dark about COVID. And it's like, well, that's what you do. That's what you do when you're wrong, when you've been provably wrong about innumerable things. And instead of saying, hey, you know what? I'm sorry that I listened to people who were obviously lying to me, and or I was paid money to say some shit that was completely wrong. I'm sorry. I don't even know how I could ever make it up to you. I don't know how I could make it up for demonizing you, and wishing ill will on you, and wishing you not receive health care. I'm sorry. That was really, really wrong. And I was wrong. So to do it on wrong information makes me really a low-life piece of shit. That's what the article should be. Not, let's declare a pandemic amnesty for what we said to you. When we were in the dark about COVID, we said that if you go to the hospital and you weren't vaccinated, you should die. We didn't know. We were in the dark. Sorry about that. Not really. Let's just say amnesty. Just wipe it away. I know you got fired. I know, yeah, you got fired. But it wasn't a mandate. You weren't forced to take the vaccine. You just had to take it or you were fired. See, it wasn't, you weren't forced. So sorry about losing your job. Not really sorry. Let's just forget it. Let's wipe it away. And you can look at me like I never said any of the fuck you. That's what I want to say. Here's my article. Fuck you. Here's my classy article. Fuck you. It was one of the most infuriating times of my life. I'm a person who believes greatly in individual freedom. I don't care right or left. Anybody telling me to do some fucking shit that I don't want to do, fuck off. But you weren't allowed to do that. You were all of a sudden you were a moron and a sociopath murderer for not doing what they told you because it was believe the science that we won't let you see the other side of. Oh, fuck. People went along with that shit. Let's declare a pandemic amnesty. Fuck off. Well, I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how I would feel if I was in a state where they locked down, unlike Florida, which was pretty open, and they, masked up even more than we did, and they made the kids not go to school. I'd be like the people moving to Florida. I'd be moving to Florida. I was like, I'm not living where the government tells me all this shit. I'm not living where the government tells me that my kid has to wear a fucking mask. I'm not living in a state where they tell my child that they have to learn on a computer, which they won't do because you don't learn that way. And the results are in. And the results say that kids are way dumber now. Let's just put it in American terms that you'll understand. The kids are way dumber now. I'm not going to give you numbers. I'm just going to tell you the kids are way dumber. They're stupider because they didn't learn for a year and a half. And once you get behind like that, you're effed. You ever been behind in a course? Usually that's it. You're like, oh, well, I screwed up in geometry. And I didn't go. I skipped a bunch of classes, and you'll never take another math class again. You're done. You can't. Or else you're gonna have to retake geometry and be a year behind. A year fucking behind. They ain't doing that. You can't have an entire year where everybody, everybody. I guess you could. Just redo the entire year, and you're gonna be 19 when you graduate. That's just, I don't know what we do with the new kids coming in. Oh well. I don't know what I solved today. I don't know if I solved anything. I'm not trying to solve anything. I'm trying to tell truths, and I'm trying to say things that people will go, yes, he believes it too, because that's what I do when I see people talking about the truth and common sense and nonpartisanship. I'm just like, yeah, who is this guy? I love this guy. He knows the truth too. The truth that we're all getting fucked. And there ain't nothing that we can do about it. I don't know if that's the message. What you can do about it, it's corny. What you can do about it is corny. It's kind of corny. What you can do about it is form a co-op in your neighborhood. Form a neighborhood watch. Maybe take some personal defense and personal firearms training. Maybe make sure you got a source of water. Maybe make sure that you have, plenty of food. It doesn't mean society's going to, become the apocalypse. But, like we have 22 days of diesel fuel left in this country. Things are happening that didn't used to happen. Maybe you're like all of a sudden you got rolling blackouts. Well, lucky you got that generator and you're keeping that freezer going. Or maybe, maybe you get an Ian situation. This is real life shit. Real life shit. Nobody expected a hurricane of that magnitude to slam into Florida and cause that much damage. And if you live there, and you weren't prepared, you were pretty much effed. So be prepared is the only thing. I can't tell you to go out and vote. Vote for who? Vote for John Fetterman. Vote for Dr. Oz. Vote for Herschel Walker. Well, but that can tip the scales. Tip the scales so that then a different party will have control and fuck us. Unfortunately, I get why people are saying vote Republican. Unfortunately, you almost got to say that. You got to say vote Republican so we see what happens. Not that I don't believe anything's going to change, but it's almost like you got to vote Republican so we can see what they do. So you can, so you can say, wow, the Republicans changed all this woke bullshit and got rid of all this shit, and we're doing good and the economy's great. We don't have 8% inflation. Thank God for the Republicans. Or what I've predicted many, many months ago, man, the Republicans are making the Democrats look awesome. No, wait. They look awesome because they're so shitty. That's my prediction. It's going to happen. It'll be the greatest I told you so that no one will listen to. It'll be completely empty. Thanks for tuning in. Do this again tomorrow, 11 o'clock. I'm right, you're wrong, so fuck off. I'm neglecting the chat. My bad. What's up, Crystal Gale, Melanie, Scott, Jamie? Appreciate you tuning in. Oh, get that. Steve Pedrick comes. Stephen Pedrick? What clip is fake? What did I play? I don't remember, Steve. 12 minutes ago. What clip did I play? The Obama clip is fake? I'll have to do some research on that. What's up, Michael Rexford? Thanks for tuning. John Henry Castellano, what's going on? All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll rant and rave. We'll rant and rave and talk about truth that nobody else will talk about, and we'll feel good about it. And then we'll go live our lives and not think about it at all because it's depressing. Live your life and enjoy it. And I'll let me rage and rant, and you can channel it all through me. We'll see you tomorrow. No cluster F. I'm right, you're wrong. 11 o'clock on Facebook. See you.